Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out British things I had never seen before moving to the UK.
Hi and welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. If you're
Hi.
new here, my name is Kaylin. I'm a dual UK and American citizen, and today I'm sharing some things I had never seen before moving to the UK.
Great.
To give you some context, I am American. I grew up in America, specifically Florida.
USA.
So it's entirely possible that some of these things can be seen or enjoyed in other parts of the US, but I managed a whole life there without seeing any of these things, so there will definitely be other Americans like me who are also incredibly unfamiliar with these things.
The phrase, I managed a life there without seeing these things, made it seem like she was keeping those things away. It made me laugh. I don't know why I stopped it. Sorry, Kaylin. Continue, please.
Who are also incredibly unfamiliar with these things. I say this because sometimes I say things and then somebody will comment and they'll be like, well, I live in Philadelphia and I have I don't know, I was prepared to give an example of something people say, but I can't think of a specific
An electric
thing.
kettle.
But basically, these videos are all generalizations based on my experience. So please do comment about your own experiences, but I'm not saying that
I'm gonna
no
let you know
American
all about it.
ever has experienced these things. I'm just saying that I haven't. Okay, anyway, on with the video. Number 1, windows that open with a key.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a window that opens with a key. No. Tell me about it.
All of the windows I had growing up opened upwards, like this, rather than outwards like the windows I'm used to in the UK, and you closed it from the inside with a little lever. It's not really a lever, a little mechanism. When I realized that you needed a key to lock and unlock many of the windows we had in the UK, I was perplexed, to say the least. Because what happens if you lose the key? What if I needed to get out during a fire from the inside and it was locked and I couldn't find the key in a panic? This has not happened to me yet. I'm sure they're more secure, but I'm just curious. So I had never seen a key for a window before I moved to the UK.
Interesting. Is that common? I don't think I've ever seen that. A window that opens with a key. If there's a fire and there's a window that's locked because I don't have the key, I'm going to break the window. Your life is worth a broken window, Kaylin. It's going to be all right. Grab a chair, a wrench, or use your fist or your face to break that window. Save yourself. I'm just curious. Windows with key locks. Is that normal? You can get them on Amazon for $12.69. This one's $212. Oh, that's like a door. What do you... Like, there's got to be some good reason for it, right? There's got to be some reason that I'm not thinking of that would make you want to put a lock on a window. Oh, like with a key, though. What's the next one?
Next up is the combo washer and dryer. Everyone says this about the UK and Europe in general when they move here from North America. Having one machine that is capable of both washing and drying my clothes seemed incredibly confusing.
It seems like a great idea. I have seen these, but I feel like most Americans don't choose them to have in their home because they're more expensive, but it seems like a great idea. But I guess to jam-pack all the mechanic stuff in one unit makes it more expensive. But I've also learned that most people in the UK don't have a laundry room and the washing machine will be in the kitchen. So that makes sense because you have limited room and you're living in a house that's older than the whole United States. Not that that's a bad thing. I think it's cool. I don't mean that as in your house is old crap. I don't mean it like that. Tell me more.
How would it switch between 2 modes? I had these more when I lived in student accommodation. Today we have a separate washer and dryer because I'm American and spoiled. I don't know. But I do think there is something to be said for having separate machines, as the combo washer and dryer never actually seemed to dry the clothes as well as a fully dedicated dryer. But this video isn't about...
Maybe that's part of the limitation of it. Like, you can't have as large of a heating element in the combo washer because you have these other pipes and stuff bringing water in, right? But it seems like a great idea.
What's better. I'm just saying I had never seen or heard of a combo washer and dryer before moving to the UK, and now I have seen quite a lot of them. Next up is the British keyboard. I have an entire video on the differences between UK and US keyboards, so check that out if you're into nerdy stuff like that. But I hadn't even taken a second to think that keyboards might be different in different countries. So when I first used a British keyboard in a computer lab at my university in the UK, I was confused. I was confused by where some of the keys were, why I kept hitting the wrong ones. And I type without looking, so it was messing me up for a long time before I finally figured out the UK keyboard layout. Next up is...
What are the differences? A British keyboard. Okay. There's a euro symbol where the dollar sign is for us, and there's the accents over the vowels. Is that all that? Is that it? Is that the only difference? Where's the pound sign? You know what I'm saying? Hang on, Kaylin. There she is.
Hi, and welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin.
Here we go.
These are basic layouts found on Windows keyboards. Yours on your particular advice may vary, so feel free to tell me in the comments where you're from and how it differs. But as much as we're all about diving into the niche topics here, we are not trying to bore the entire world with a long list of 86 variations on UK and US keyboards, so if this is slightly different from what you're expecting, forgive me.
Okay,
we'll keep
I
both
forgive you.
keyboard layouts on the screen so you can see how they differ in real time.
What?
To keep it easy, we'll go from bottom row to top row, and I will make this a little bit fast, so here we go. On the US layout, there is an extra Alt key to the right of the spacebar. On the UK layout, there is an Alt-GR key, which I had to look up, and apparently means alt graph, or alternative or alternate graphic, and is often used to help type characters that are not widely used in the territory in which the keyboard is sold, such as foreign currency symbols, typographic marks, and accented letters. But everybody knows Americans mostly just stay in America, so why would we need that?
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's like a shift key, but for alternate symbols instead of just making it capital, right? Okay.
Sorry, you guys, I'm kidding. I'm American. I'm allowed to say that. Next up, as we move to the second row, is that the American shift key is longer than the UK shift key on the left, and the US layout does not have the backslash key on the second row from the bottom.
Yeah, ours is on the right.
We'll find it later on in the fourth row up. On the third row up, we find that the UK... That kind of just sounded like throw up, didn't it? On the third row up, we find that the UK @ symbol is to the right of the colon and
ours is on the number 2,
which is not the same in the US. And the UK also has the hash or pound sign. This sign is called a hash typically.
Ours is on the number
UK,
3,
and
right?
the pound sign in the US.
Yeah, number 3.
This is in the third row. The Enter key is found on the third row of both keyboards, but the UK one takes up 2 rows rather than the US one, which is a single row Enter key. Are you not thrilled? Okay.
Kinda.
Moving on up to the fourth row from the bottom, it's all the same until you look at the very right-hand side. The US layout now has the backslash key, where the UK layout has the top of the Enter key.
Right.
And finally, the top row. The most important difference is that above the 2 key on the US keyboard is the @ symbol, whereas on the UK layout, it's a quotation mark. And we've now found the hash symbol on the US layout, which is above the 3 key, whereas in the UK, it's the pound sign.
Why? Why is it different? I get the dollar sign and the pound sign. That makes sense. But why is the rest of it different? I'm sure it was invented in Britain, you know, like most everything else. But why? What else? Oh, why? Here we go. Tell me.
Turns out not really. The stakes aren't quite as high on this one as for some of our other topics, but we can still learn something. There are some obvious reasons. What?
Reasons?
There are some obvious
I love that she let that in.
For some differences. Those in the UK are going to want to be able to find the currency pound sign more easily.
Right.
I'm assuming you understand why. Whereas those in the US definitely won't need it as much, if ever. But the main reasons these keyboards are different is simply legacy. There are different standards in each country that have just become the norm. Someone who calls themselves Buoyant Puppy on the forums of MacRumors.com said in 2013 that, as an ex-translator and layout designer of keyboards, he or she can confirm that they rarely have real practical justification for the differences, And yet almost everyone is nevertheless super defensive about the layout that they're used to, so we're gonna go ahead and take his statement as fact.
Okay.
You can easily switch your computer these days to use keyboards from around the world within the software itself, which I used to do in changing my UK keyboard on my laptop to an American layout. But of course, the actual symbols on the keys themselves wouldn't change, but that didn't matter as I...
Wow, y'all. It's just 'cause that's the way Grandma and Grandpa made it. Thanks, Grandma and Grandpa, for confusing us even more. Wow.
So when I first used a British keyboard in the computer lab at my university in the UK, I was confused. I was confused by where some of the keys were, why I kept hitting the wrong ones.
I think the quotation mark thing would probably mess me up the most.
It was messing me up for a long time before I finally figured out the UK keyboard layout.
I didn't know there was a difference.
Next up
That's so crazy.
is someone putting on the parking brake, which also is it called the emergency brake in some places? Growing up in Florida and driving automatic cars, I swear to you, no one ever mentioned this brake to me. Did it exist? Yeah, it must have in my car. But no one ever talked about it. Never. Not one time. Not a single time. When I first moved to the UK and my husband kept putting on this parking brake, I was like, what are you doing? The car doesn't need your extra help to park. It's stopped. It's parked.
It's good for your brakes, though. Yeah.
It is no, because you got to put the parking brake on in a lot of places in the UK, which I now do religiously. But I had never given it a second thought, or even a first thought. I hadn't given it any thought until I moved to the UK.
That's interesting. So yeah, I also grew up in Florida. And I never used my parking brake. I think I started using it when I moved to Atlanta and there's hills. And I think I learned, if you don't use your parking brake and you park your car and you're on kind of a hill and you let your foot off the normal brake, the car will kind of go. I didn't realize that this was bad for your real brakes. It's like putting a little extra tension on them. Yeah. Me too, Kaylin. I didn't learn that until I left Florida. Isn't that interesting? We're the same.
Next up is the electric kettle. People like to fight about kettles on the internet because it's horrifying to many British people that most Americans don't have one. But it's true.
I've heard that.
We do not really use electric kettles. We either heat water in the microwave or in a pan on the stove. I had never preheated water before. If I'm cooking pasta, for instance, in the UK, I'll boil the water in the kettle and then pour it in the pan to bring to a boil on the stove faster. This is not a thing in the US. You just fill the pot or pan with water and let it boil completely on the stove.
Yeah, and
I will say that
longer.
electric kettles are obviously superior when it comes to the speed of boiling water in the UK, but the voltage in the US is lower, which means it cannot boil water as fast in the US. So it's not entirely surprising the US hasn't gotten on board the kettle train. I did know what a kettle looked like when living in the US. Probably. Maybe, but I had never actually seen one in person.
Here it is, y'all, my beloved electric kettle. General Electric, call me. Give me an affiliate link. Let's do business. Let's sell some kettles to the dumb Americans. Smart Americans. Hot water. It's good. Y'all, this face Kaylin's giving me. I feel judged. I feel small. I'm going to take a screen cap of this because it's so intimidating. I'm going to get it framed. Feel bad about myself. Anyway.
Next up is roast dinner flavored crisps, or chips, as we would say in America.
Oh.
Every country has some weird version of crisp or chip flavors that other people look at and think is disgusting.
Those are fun.
And for the UK, I'm not going to say it's disgusting at all, but I had never seen roast dinner flavored chips before. I hadn't even heard of what a roast dinner would be. And it kind of seemed like, how is this entire crisp flavored multiple foods all
Willy
at once?
Wonka.
But I guess it works and people buy it. Comment below and let me know. Do you like roast dinner flavored crisps?
I want to try it. I've never seen roast dinner flavored crisps. But I think it's a great idea. Can I buy them here? Oh, it might be a discontinued food. Oh, wait. I spelled beef wrong. Oh, I don't think they make it anymore. What if I go to shopping? Guinness chips? What? Dang, I don't think they make it. Or I can't buy it here. I love that they're getting creative with the potato chip flavors. It's fun. Anyway, I've never seen that either. Moving on.
Do you like roast dinner flavored crisps?
I bet they're
Next
good.
up is corn on pizza, or as the Brits would say, sweet corn on pizza. Pizza toppings are fascinating to me between countries, and we're actually going to do a whole deep dive between UK pizza
Corn on
and American
pizza?
pizza. Or
I've
should
never-
I say, deep dish dive. Get it? Anyway, I had never seen someone suggest that you can put corn on pizza before. But
I haven't
apparently you
either.
can. My
I mean,
husband loves
you
it this
can,
way. It
sure.
comes as an option in UK Pizza Hut.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie. I think it's weird, but then why is it more weird than having other toppings on a pizza? It's not. I'm
Right.
just not used to it, and it's something I hadn't seen before moving to the UK.
I've never had corn on pizza. I've never heard of corn on pizza. You cannot buy corn on pizza, can you? Corn pizza. Is this a recipe? Okay. Let's take a Google trip to London and then look for Pizza Hut. Do they have Pizza Hut? Oh, they do have Pizza Hut there. Okay. Let's go to Pizza Hut Southampton Row and let's order online. I reject all your cookies. Start a career? No. Order for collection. Collection? I guess that means to go. I'll collect it. Enter a postcode. Crap. What's the postcode of this restaurant? WC1B 5AL. WC1B 5AL. Yes, that's me. Show me that corn. Pizzas. Chicken fajita, chicken and bacon, pepperoni and spicy, veggie supreme. Let's order barbecue Americano. Let's get a supreme and add corn. 31 pounds. How can I add my own stuff? I'm not seeing any corn. Sour cream on pizza? That's probably delicious. Well, I'm not seeing any corn on these pizzas, and I don't see an option to add corn on these pizzas. Tell me in the comments, y'all, is that normal? I've never heard of that. Ever, but I would love to try it.
Used to it, and it's something I hadn't seen before moving to the UK.
I love corn.
Next up is the British flush. Everyone loves talking about toilet flushes, obviously. Favorite
Everyone
topic, that's
loves
why you're
it.
here. But did you know, I had never seen this kind of toilet flush button until
Oh.
moving to the UK.
I've seen
I
that.
had only seen ones like this in the US, and actually, when I was in the US a few months ago, I did see a button type one in an airport, so they could be catching on.
They
but the
are.
first
They've
time
caught
I
on.
used a UK toilet in Heathrow Airport, I literally took a picture of the flush button because I was like, what in the world is this thing?
Yeah, I think that's one of those personal experience things that she's talking about because I've definitely seen that myself.
Next is a pull cord to turn on a light. It's a little bit old school, even in the UK, but when I first moved to the UK, there was a pull cord to turn on the light in the bathroom in my in-laws' house, and this was very strange to me. It has to do with regulations about electric connections in the bathroom in the UK, which is a
Okay.
whole other video, but I had for sure never seen a cord to turn on a light. I
What?
swear to you, I
Really?
panicked every single time I turned it off or on because you had to pull it really hard to get it to work. And I was always afraid I was going to break it. And actually, at one point, the cord did snap and they had to tie it back together.
I don't think I've ever seen this in a bathroom, but it makes sense because of the moisture and everything. Electricity and water doesn't mix very well, or it mixes too well. But we have lights that turn on with cords. I'm thinking I have a ceiling fan in my dining room with a cord to turn the lights on. But I guess in the bathroom, it's a specific thing. Okay.
The next one is a sad one, and not because of the thing, but because I hadn't seen the thing, and the thing is a crumpet. I had never seen a crumpet before moving to the UK. I definitely did
never had
not
a
know what it
crumpet.
looked like, though I had heard of it as in tea and crumpets, but I could not have picked a crumpet out of like a baked goods lineup, if that
I
makes
think
sense.
it's like an English
For
muffin
those who are
to
not in the
us.
know, crumpets look like this, and they're basically the perfect
Yeah.
vessel for butter after you toast them. And while I do not eat them often, when I do eat them, it is the best thing ever. Next is the black.
Yeah, we stole those from you guys, but to us, they're called English muffins. I think it's the same thing. It looks the same.
Next is the blackcurrant flavor. So, did you know
I've
that
heard of
blackcurrant
this.
flavor is not a thing in the US?
Yeah, no.
Blackcurrant bushes were actually banned in 1911 in the US due to a fungus it carried called white pine blister rust that threatened the timber industry. Cannot have that.
Oh.
So most Americans today have never eaten a blackcurrant,
Yeah.
whether like in any form. The actual
Fair
berry, in a jam, in a sauce, nothing. This same fungus actually does happen in Europe. It's not exclusive to America. But Europe kept the blackcurrants and got rid of the white pine tree, while America went the other way, which is pretty interesting. If you
Oh,
ask
that
me.
is interesting. This fungus attacks the white pine and the currant. America was like, we're going to keep the white pines because we want that money. And Europe was like, we're keeping the black currants because we want food. We have enough trees. I've seen in other videos that in England, like a food product, if it has a black currant flavor, in America, it would be grape flavor. Marketing.
Rhubarb. Rhubarb is an interesting plant. Technically a vegetable, but often eaten as a fruit. I don't entirely know what that means, but when I was researching rhubarb,
It goes great with strawberries, right? Isn't that strawberry rhubarb pie? I've had it that way, but not as a standalone veggie.
we're gonna roll with it. I had never heard of it. I like how sometimes I say I'm bringing you the most accurate information possible, and sometimes I'm like, I scanned this in Wikipedia in 2 seconds and added it into the video, restating it as fact. So this rhubarb
I do
segment,
that
you
too.
guys, it's a little sketchy. Anyway, I had never seen or heard of rhubarb while living in the US. Now you can understand why so much research has had to be done. Further investigation has revealed to me that possibly this was because I lived in the South, and the climate in the American South, it's not good for rhubarb. So it's more popular in the northern states, but
Yeah.
it's still a relatively unusual ingredient in many parts of America and not as often used as in the UK. Now this brings me to the end of this video. Which of my answers surprised you the most? I'd love to know. Comment below. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, Kaylin. This is an informative video. Which one did surprise me the most? The windows that open with a key, the British keyboard. I never would have thought of that. Corn on pizza. That one surprised me. Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised that there were some things that I was surprised about. I'm surprised at being surprised. Wow. Yeah, I've only had rhubarb in pies. I didn't even know it looked like what she showed me there. I had no idea. I see it in chunks along with strawberry in a pie. And there's a quote from a Batman film, I think, or a Jack Nicholson quote maybe, where he says something like, "Never rub another man's rhubarb." And I remember thinking, what does that mean? Look at this smile on her face. That's a genuine smile. I feel like she cares about my well-being. Hey, Kaylin. Well, this is a great video. She's doing great videos, y'all. Be sure to go to Girl Gone London and give her a like and subscribe. And if you made it this far into this video, give me a like and a subscribe. I would appreciate it. It helps me out a lot, actually. I'd like to thank my patrons. And thank y'all for watching this with me. And I'll see you next time.